Welcome back to our channel, World Coins History. As you knew that old is gold, but these rare $quarter coins that are most valuable than you think, don't spend one of them. You're lucky if you have one of these, so please watch complete video and find your treasure. Let's start this. Top 1. Today, we've got something truly exciting to discuss. The United States 2021 $quarter featuring the iconic crossing the Delaware design. This coin is more than just a piece of currency. It's a piece of history that might be sitting in your pocket right now, worth far more than its face value. In fact, it could be worth thousands of dollars. Intrigued? Stick with us as we explore the history, rarity, and potential value of this fascinating coin. Let's start with the design, which is absolutely stunning. The Crossing the Delaware quarter was released as part of the America the Beautiful series, and it commemorates one of the most iconic moments in American history, the famous crossing of the Delaware River during the Revolutionary War. This event, led by General George Washington in 1776, marked a pivotal moment that helped change the course of history. The coin's design is a tribute to that courageous act of leadership and the perseverance of the Continental Army. On the reverse of this coin, you'll find a beautifully detailed depiction of Washington and his troops making their way across the icy Delaware River. The scene is filled with dramatic movement, from Washington's determined expression to the powerful stance of the soldiers braving the freezing waters. It's a striking representation of American resolve and determination during one of the most difficult times in the nation's history. Now, while the coin's design is certainly eye-catching, what truly sets it apart in the world of coin collecting is its rarity and potential value. You see, while millions of these quarters were produced, only a small fraction have survived in pristine, uncirculated condition. Most of these coins were used in everyday transactions, and as a result, they've been subject to wear and tear. But here's the catch: finding a flawless specimen is incredibly rare. If you're lucky enough to own one, especially one with no scratches, discoloration, or wear from circulation, you've got something special. But that's not all. There's another factor that could make this quarter extremely valuable to collectors: minting errors. Some 2021 Crossing the Delaware quarters were produced with imperfections during the minting process. These could include things like double strikes, off-center prints, or even misaligned designs. These minting errors are incredibly sought after by collectors because they're unique, and owning a coin with such an error can really skyrocket its value. If you happen to come across a coin like this, don't just toss it into your change jar. Get it checked by a professional, because it could be worth a lot more than you think. Now, let's get to the big question: how much could this coin actually be worth? Well, if you have a 2021 Crossing the Delaware quarter that's in perfect, uncirculated condition, you're already looking at a coin that could be worth hundreds of dollars. But the real jackpot comes with the mint errors. Some of these error coins have been known to fetch incredibly high prices. In fact, one of these quarters, yes, just one, was sold for an astounding $59,000. That's right, $59,000 for a quarter. Who would have thought that such a small coin could carry such an enormous value? Now, we know what you're probably thinking: how do I know if my coin could be worth that much? The answer lies in its condition and whether it has any rare errors. If you think you might have a gem on your hands, it's worth taking the time to get it evaluated by a professional numismatist. There are so many variables that come into play, but one thing is for sure: this coin is definitely worth checking out, whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting your journey. For all the collectors out there, the Crossing the Delaware quarter is more than just a coin. It's a symbol of America's courage and resilience during one of the most important chapters of its history. And if you happen to have a rare, error-free version, or even a mint error coin, it could make you the lucky owner of a $59,000 treasure. Top 2, we're going to take a close look at a coin you might have in your collection or even tucked away in a drawer: the 1982 United States $quarter. It might seem like just another coin, but trust me, this one could be worth a small fortune, and you'll want to hear why. Now, when we think about rare and valuable coins, the first thing that comes to mind is usually gold or silver, but the 1982 $quarter is an incredible example of how even a relatively common coin can become a collector's dream if it has the right combination of rarity, condition, and a touch of something unusual. In 1982, the U.S. Mint produced billions of quarters, and most of them circulated widely. But here's where it gets interesting. Some of these 1982 quarters were minted with a few unique flaws, making them incredibly rare and sought after by collectors. Now, I know what you're thinking, it's just a quarter. But let me tell you, this isn't just any ordinary coin. The few examples that survived in pristine condition, or even with a rare minting error, can fetch a jaw-dropping price in today's market. And the best part? The more we dig into this coin, the more fascinating it gets. First, let's talk about what makes the 1982 quarter dollar stand out from the rest. If you take a good look at this coin, you'll see the usual imagery: George Washington on the obverse and an eagle on the reverse. Nothing too surprising at first glance. But here's the kicker: some of these quarters were struck with die cracks, off-center strikes, or misaligned designs, which are considered minting errors. And as any seasoned coin collector knows, a coin with an error is often far more valuable than one that's perfectly minted. It's the imperfections that make these coins incredibly special and highly collectible. But wait, the rarity doesn't stop there. In 1982, a batch of quarters was accidentally struck with a different, incorrect metal composition, something that rarely happens in modern coin production. This resulted in a few quarters having a slight difference in weight, color, and even texture. Imagine owning a coin that's part of an unexpected mistake from the mint. That's a coin that tells a story, and collectors are always hunting for these pieces of numismatic history. Now, let's talk about the condition of the coin. Like with any collectible, the better the condition, the higher the value. A typical 1982 quarter dollar, one that's been circulating in pocket change for decades, won't be worth much, maybe just face value or a little more if it's in decent shape. But if you've got one in mint condition, free from scratches, dings, and signs of wear, you've got something that can potentially be worth a lot more. The key here is preservation. A well-kept coin from 1982, with no visible wear, could be a hidden gem waiting to be discovered. But let's get to the real reason you're probably watching this video right now: just how much could this quarter actually be worth? If you happen to have a 1982 quarter dollar in pristine uncirculated condition, or even better, one with a rare minting error, you could be holding a coin worth $58,000. That's right, $58,000 for a quarter. It's mind-blowing, right? A coin that was once worth just 25 cents could be worth more than a new car, or even a down payment on a house, depending on its rarity and condition. And the crazy part is, there might be one of these treasures hiding in your collection or your pocket change. So, next time you find yourself holding a 1982 quarter, take a closer look. Is it in mint condition? Could it have one of those minting errors? You never know, you might just have a fortune sitting right in your hands. Top 3, we've got an exciting topic that will make you take a second look at your pocket change: the 1978 United States quarter dollar. While it may seem like just another coin, the truth is, it's far more valuable than you might expect. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll know why this coin is a must-have for serious collectors, and just how much it could be worth today. Now, let's set the stage. In 1978, the United States Mint produced billions of quarters. These were, of course, the familiar Washington quarters, which have been a staple in American currency for decades. But here's the twist: while most of these 1978 quarters went into circulation and were quickly worn down through daily use, some of them were struck with very unique characteristics that make them incredibly rare today. So, what's the catch? Why is a 1978 quarter so special, and why are collectors willing to pay big money for one? The answer lies in a combination of minting errors, rarity, and condition. Coins that were mistakenly struck with off-center designs, double strikes, or die cracks are some of the rarest finds you could hope for. These imperfections weren't intentional, of course, but they're exactly what collectors are looking for. Let's break down a few of these errors. First up, off-center strikes. If a quarter wasn't perfectly aligned during the minting process, you could end up with a coin where part of the design is missing or shifted to one side. These off-center quarters are incredibly rare because they don't happen very often, and they're highly prized by collectors for their unique look and the fact that they stand out from regular coins. Next, let's talk about double strikes. This happens when a coin is struck more than once during the minting process. As a result, you might end up with a quarter that has a slightly blurry or doubled design. These types of errors are considered even rarer and can make the coin incredibly valuable, as they are a clear mistake from the minting process. And then there's die cracks, another fascinating feature. A die crack occurs when the metal die used to strike the coin develops a crack. When this crack gets transferred onto the coin during minting, it leaves behind a visible line or mark on the coin. For some collectors, die cracks are highly desirable because they represent a piece of the minting process itself and often signal that the coin is part of a very limited batch, but it's not just about the errors. Condition is absolutely crucial in determining the value of any coin. If you've got a 1978 quarter in mint state, which means it has been kept in pristine condition without any wear or damage, it could be worth a lot more than a coin that's been circulated for decades. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin. Many 1978 quarters are worn down from years of use, but those that have been carefully preserved or stored away in great condition are worth much more. Now, let's get to the good stuff, the part you've been waiting for. Just how much is this 1978 quarter worth? If you happen to have a 1978 Washington quarter in perfect condition, or one with a rare minting error, it could be worth a staggering $67,000. That's right, $67,000 for a single quarter. This isn't some far-off fantasy, it's the reality for a small number of lucky collectors who've managed to find these rare, error-filled coins. Imagine having a coin that was once worth just 25 cents, but now, because of its rarity and unique characteristics, it's worth tens of thousands of dollars. If you've ever wondered what it feels like to stumble upon a real-life treasure, this is it. A single coin could change your life, or at least your collection, in an instant. So, next time you're sorting through old coins or browsing through your change, take a closer look at any 1978 quarters you might have. Is there an off-center strike? A die crack? A double strike? You just might be holding a rare treasure that could make you a small fortune. Top 4, we're diving into a coin that might just be sitting in your collection, or even in your pocket change right now. That's right, we're talking about the 1996 United States quarter dollar. While most people might overlook this coin as just another piece of pocket change, there's actually a lot more to it than meets the eye. Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you'll know why this particular quarter could be worth far more than its face value. Let's take a trip back to 1996. It was a year of transition in the United States. The economy was strong, and people were going about their daily lives, unaware that something remarkable was happening at the U.S. Mint. The 1996 quarter dollar is part of the Washington Quarter series, which has been in circulation since 1932. On the surface, this coin looks just like any other quarter from that era, but trust me, it's far from ordinary. First, let's talk about why this coin is so sought after by collectors. The 1996 quarter was minted in massive quantities, and like most coins that flood circulation, it wasn't exactly viewed as a rare find at the time. However, it's the combination of rarity, condition, and certain minting errors that make this coin a hidden gem for numismatists today. So, what sets the 1996 quarter apart from the thousands of others that were minted that year? Well, some of the 1996 quarters were struck with very unique minting errors, and as any coin collector will tell you, errors are what make a coin truly special. Let's break it down. Point 1 of the most exciting errors you can find on a 1996 quarter is the double strike error. This occurs when the coin is struck twice by the same die, which can result in a blurred or doubled image of George Washington's portrait or the eagle on the reverse side. Double strike coins are highly desirable because they're unique. After all, they weren't intended to be made that way. When collectors find a 1996 quarter with this kind of error, they know they're holding something that can't be found anywhere else. Another common error you might find on these quarters is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin is not properly aligned with the die during the minting process, resulting in a design that's shifted to one side. An off-center strike gives the coin a distinctive look and makes it an eye-catching addition to any collection. The rarer the misalignment, the higher the value. Some of these off-center quarters can be worth thousands of dollars, depending on how far off-center the design is. Then, we have die cracks, another fascinating error that can make a coin even more valuable. A die crack occurs when the metal die used to strike the coin develops a crack. As the coin is struck, the crack gets transferred onto the surface, leaving behind a visible mark or line. Die cracks might seem like a small flaw, but they're highly sought after because they are evidence of the coin's minting process. Plus, not every coin will have them, making those with die cracks even rarer. Now, let's talk about condition. As we all know, a coin's value skyrockets when it's in pristine condition. Most of the 1996 quarters that were released into circulation have been well worn by now. But if you happen to have one that's uncirculated, free from scratches, dents, and discoloration, you're sitting on something special. Coins in mint condition can sell for a lot more than their face value, especially if they've been kept in great shape since they were first released. Alright, I know you're eager to find out just how much this quarter could be worth. So, here it is. The 1996 United States quarter dollar could be worth $49,000 if you have one in perfect condition or with one of those rare minting errors we talked about. That's right, $49,000 for a single quarter. It's incredible to think that a coin that was once just worth 25 cents could now be worth so much. So, before you toss that 1996 quarter into your change jar or back into circulation, make sure to take a closer look. Could it be one of the rare error coins we just discussed? Is it in mint condition? If you're lucky enough to find one, you could be holding on to a small fortune. Top 5, we're going to take a closer look at a piece of American history that could be worth far more than its face value. I'm talking about the 1965 United States quarter dollar. This coin may seem like just another quarter to most people, but believe me, there's more to it than meets the eye. Let's travel back to 1965 for a moment. This was a pivotal year in U.S. coinage history, marking the moment when the U.S. Mint made a significant change in the composition of many coins. In an effort to reduce costs, the U.S. Mint transitioned from using 90% silver to a more affordable clad composition, essentially a mix of copper and nickel, starting with coins like the quarter. The 1965 quarter was the first in the series to be struck without any silver content, which made it unique compared to other quarters minted before it. But here's where things get interesting. While the 1965 quarter may seem ordinary, it holds a number of characteristics that make it highly collectible and valuable today. Most of these quarters were minted in large quantities, which would typically make them relatively common. However, there are a few key factors that set certain 1965 quarters apart from the rest, and that's what makes them so valuable. One of the biggest factors is rarity. While millions of these quarters were struck, the ones that are most sought after are those that were minted with errors or unusual characteristics. Coin collectors love errors because they offer something unique, and as you may know, rare and unique coins always fetch a premium price. A quarter from 1965 may appear to be a standard piece of currency, but if it has any sort of error, it could be worth far more than just 25 cents. One of the most exciting errors you can find on a 1965 quarter is the double die error. This happens when a coin is struck more than once by the same die, resulting in a blurry or doubled design. On a 1965 quarter, this can cause the features of George Washington's portrait, the lettering, and even the date to appear double or misaligned. These coins are rare because double die errors are not common, and they make the coin visually distinctive. As a result, they are highly sought after by collectors looking to complete their collections with unique and rare finds. Another potential error to look for on the 1965 quarter is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin isn't properly aligned during the minting process, resulting in the design being shifted to one side of the coin. These off-center quarters stand out from the rest, and collectors go crazy for them because they're so unusual and hard to find. If you find one of these in your collection, you could have a rare treasure on your hands, but it's not just about errors. Another key factor that plays into the value of the 1965 quarter is its condition. Like any collectible, the better the condition of the coin, the higher its value. Many of the 1965 quarters in circulation have been worn down over the years, losing much of their original luster and sharpness. But if you're lucky enough to have one in mint condition, meaning it shows no wear or scratches and still has its original shine, you're in possession of something truly special. Now, you're probably wondering how much this coin could actually be worth. Well, if you happen to have a 1965 quarter with one of those rare minting errors, or if it's in unbelievable condition, you could be looking at a $78,000 price tag. That's right, $78,000 for a single quarter. It's incredible to think that a coin that was once worth just 25 cents could now fetch such a staggering amount. So, what does this mean for you? If you come across a 1965 quarter, take a moment to examine it closely. Does it have a double die error? Is it off-center? Is it in mint condition? You might just have a fortune in your hands that could add thousands of dollars to your collection. Top 6, we're going to talk about a coin that may be hiding right under your nose, or perhaps in your old coin jar, a coin that's more valuable than you might think. I'm talking about the 1994 United States quarter dollar. It's a coin you might have seen a million times before, but trust me, there's more to it than meets the eye. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly why this coin is so desirable, and just how much it could be worth today. So, let's set the stage. The 1994 quarter is part of the Washington Quarter series, which has been a staple of U.S. currency for decades. In 1994, these quarters were minted in large numbers to meet the demands of daily circulation. At first glance, this coin might seem like just another typical quarter, standard size, standard design. However, for collectors, this coin holds the potential to be much more than a simple piece of currency. Now, you might be wondering, what makes the 1994 quarter so special? Well, here's where things get interesting. The 1994 quarter wasn't just any ordinary coin. Like many coins minted that year, it was struck using specific dies and techniques that make certain 1994 quarters rare and valuable today. While most of these quarters were used in daily transactions, there are a few specific factors that contribute to its rarity and desirability among collectors. First, let's talk about minting errors, and trust me, this is where things get exciting. Coins that were struck with imperfections during the minting process often become some of the most sought-after pieces for collectors. For example, one of the most common errors you might find on a 1994 quarter is the double die error. A double die error happens when a coin is struck twice by the same die, leading to a blurry or doubled image of the design on the coin. This can make the lettering, like Liberty or In God We Trust, appear blurry or doubled. These errors are incredibly rare, and finding a 1994 quarter with a double die can significantly increase its value. Another potential error you might come across is an off-center strike. This occurs when the coin isn't aligned properly during the minting process, resulting in a design that's shifted to one side of the coin. An off-center 1994 quarter looks unusual and stands out from the rest, making it a favorite among collectors. The more misaligned the design, the more valuable the coin can be. Then, we have the die cracks. A die crack occurs when the metal die used to strike the coin develops a crack. This crack gets transferred onto the coin as it's being struck, leaving behind a visible line or mark. Although these cracks might seem like minor imperfections, they're actually quite desirable to collectors. They add a unique touch to the coin and often make it stand out in a collection, but it's not just about errors. The condition of the coin plays a huge role in determining its value. Most of the 1994 quarters that went into circulation have been worn down over the years, losing their original shine and detail. But if you're lucky enough to find a 1994 quarter that's in mint condition, meaning it has been carefully preserved, free from scratches, tarnish, and wear, you could have a truly valuable piece. Coins in excellent condition, especially those that have never been in circulation, are always in high demand. So, you're probably wondering, what's the big payoff? How much could this 1994 quarter actually be worth? Well, if you happen to have one of these rare coins in mint condition, or if you've come across one with a significant minting error, you could be looking at a value of up to $46,000. That's right, $46,000 for a single 1994 quarter. It's amazing to think that a coin that was once worth just 25 cents could now fetch such an incredible price, just because of its rarity and unique features. If you've got a 1994 quarter lying around, it's definitely worth taking a closer look at it. Check for any signs of errors, such as a double die, off-center strike, or die cracks. If your coin is in great condition, you could be sitting on a small fortune without even knowing it. Top 7 and last coin, we've got an exciting one for you, something that you may have in your collection, or maybe even in your spare change. We're talking about the 1998 United States quarter dollar, a coin that might look ordinary to the untrained eye, but it has some fascinating qualities that can make it incredibly valuable. Stick with me, and I'll explain why this seemingly common quarter is a gem in the world of coin collecting. Let's step back in time to 1998. The U.S. Mint was still producing quarters as part of the Washington Quarter series, which had been around since 1932. By this time, the 1998 quarter had a few key design elements that made it instantly recognizable, with the familiar profile of George Washington on the obverse, and the eagle on the reverse. However, despite being mass-produced, this particular quarter holds more than just historical significance, it holds potential fortune. What makes the 1998 quarter so interesting? While the U.S. Mint struck these quarters in large numbers, it's the rarity of certain issues that have made this coin increasingly valuable in the eyes of collectors. In the world of coin collecting, it's not just the date or design that makes a coin valuable. Often, it's the errors or misprints that occur during the minting process that can take a coin from being worth face value to being worth a small fortune. One of the most sought-after mistakes on the 1998 quarter is the double die error. Now, you might be wondering, what is a double die error? Essentially, it happens when the coin is struck more than once by the same die, causing certain elements of the coin to appear doubled or misaligned. This can happen to the lettering, like Liberty or In God We Trust, or even the outline of Washington's portrait. These double strikes are highly coveted because they're unique, and collectors love to add error coins to their collections. If you happen to stumble upon a 1998 quarter with this kind of error, you could be holding onto something that's worth much more than just 25 cents. Another potential error to look out for is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin doesn't align properly with the minting die, causing the design to shift. If you've ever seen a 1998 quarter where the design is noticeably off-center, that's a coin that could have a premium value. Coins with misaligned strikes are rarer and can fetch a high price at auctions, especially if the misalignment is extreme. Then, there are die cracks. This occurs when the die used to strike the coin develops cracks or breaks, which then appear on the surface of the coin itself. While these might seem like minor imperfections, die cracks are actually very valuable to collectors because they provide insight into the coin's manufacturing process. A 1998 quarter with a noticeable die crack can stand out as a one-of-a-kind piece, making it a must-have for collectors who love adding these unique features to their collections. Now, let's talk about condition. As we all know, a coin's value is heavily influenced by its condition. Most of the 1998 quarters that were released into circulation have been worn down over time. However, if you happen to have one that's in uncirculated condition, meaning it's free from scratches, tarnishing, or heavy wear, you could be looking at a much more valuable coin. Coins in pristine condition are highly sought after because they represent a perfect example of what the coin was like when it was first minted. The better the condition, the higher the value. Alright, now here comes the exciting part, the moment you've all been waiting for. So, what exactly can a 1998 quarter be worth? If you've got a 1998 quarter in mint condition, or better yet, one with a rare minting error like a double die or off-center strike, you could be looking at a value of $45,000. Yes, you heard that right, $45,000 for a single 1998 quarter. It's amazing how a coin that was once worth just 25 cents can now command such a high price, especially when it has the right characteristics. So, what does this mean for you? If you've got a 1998 quarter hanging around, take a closer look. Could it have a double die error? Is it in pristine condition? Is the design off-center? These small details can make a huge difference in its value. I hope this video has sparked your interest in the world of rare coins and the potential value of the 1998 quarter dollar. If you enjoyed learning about this fascinating coin and want to keep discovering valuable treasures, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss another exciting find. Thanks for watching, and remember, Sometimes, the most valuable coins are the ones you least expect. Happy collecting!